Great. I'm trying to send this file to all the devotees. There are no projectors. Internet is required. Somehow
Hare Krishna, everybody understands English or everybody get a Telugu translation. How many of you prefer Telugu? Raise your hands.
so I'm trying. If I don't have internet, then I'll connect. I also have 5G, but very, very philosophical topic, and I'll change the topic. What I think is I'm not having internet, getting internet. No, you can have, if you want translation, I can do translation. What I'll do is I'm sending the file to WhatsApp. That will be sent refer. Till what time can you continue? Till what time can you continue? None of them.
Hare Krishna. So we will share the document in the Shastra group. So kindly request all you with all the documents and follow the instructions. Right. So we will share the document which we are going to take 16 philosophy in the Shastra group. So kindly request all you download document and you can go to the Hare Krishna.
Hari. So already I sent a document to all of you, 6 systems of philosophy.pdf. So you can look into your mobile phones. Yeah. Okay. Then we can have 5 minutes of kirtans, but it will be a heavy topic. Namo Buddhaya Krishna Krishna Bhutile Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Chane Devishishya Bhadu Prasadi Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama. So we'll have 5 minutes kirtans. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Krishna Prabhupada Harinam Sankirtan ki Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakya Chakshururmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishnam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Radham Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vidam Tam Sativa Savetam Savadutam Parijanasam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saranadhika Shri Visakham Tam Sam Namo Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Murtile Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Acharya Nirvishesha Nirvani Asate Sutharane Vancha Kapadevasya Sindhukecha Padidana Bhavendro Vaishnavendro Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Premadhyaya Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namo नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका राधा नमस्ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे प्रणमामि हरि। नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम So I'm grateful to all of you for allowing me to serve for 1.5 years by giving Bhakti Sastri. And also today also we'll discuss the systems of philosophy. Okay. So now devotees may refer to the document which is sent to all of you, because this topic is very philosophical. 6 systems of philosophy. Name itself has philosophy. One of the reasons why we are discussing this chapter is actually Prabhupada wanted all his followers to understand these 6 systems of philosophy. Rather, Prabhupada says that anybody who wants to sit on Vyasasana should learn 6 systems of philosophy. So certainly, this is not exactly devotional service in the sense that there are much devotional content. So sometimes we neglect it, but at least today we can learn. So these 6 systems of philosophy are propounded by 6 different personalities. But Vyas, what he does is, other 5 philosophies, he glorifies their contributions and then he defeats the misconceptions in his Vedanta Sutra. And that is how he establishes the Vedanta Sutra. Another reason these 6 systems of philosophy are given in order to accommodate even people who have atheistic nature. Because to some degree, these philosophies, 5 systems, not all 6 of them, 5 of them to some degree are atheistic. Rather, these philosophies are more atheistic than the current atheistic philosophies. No atheist in the modern world can say we have a better philosophy than these philosophies. So in this way, Vedas, they increase their shelter or umbrella by accommodating all these 5 philosophies. So that people have any sort of atheistic mentality also, they can be part of Vedic umbrella and gradually they can become lovers of God. So that is how all these people are accommodated. So these 16 systems of philosophies are Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. So these are 6 systems of philosophy. So we'll go, okay, we'll see the propounders and then we'll go one by one. So Sankhya, the real Sankhya philosophy is given by Devhuti Putra Kapil, son of Devhuti Kapil, in Srimad Bhagavata. But there is also an atheistic Kapil there. Prabhupada condemns so many times. So much so that devotees get a desire to see who this fellow. So Prabhupada said no. And there is an atheistic Kapila. So there is this given by atheistic Kapil there, Sankhya philosophy. Yoga is given by Patanjali, very famous. On the way you'll see Patanjali stores. Right? Many places. Patanjali. Nyaya, which is basically called logic, is given by Gautam Rishi. Vaisheshika is given by Kanada Rishi. Mimamsa is given by Gemini Rishi. And Vedanta Sutra is given by Ved Vyas himself. For devotees, we don't have to worry much because the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have natural commentaries of Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we will go one by one. So I don't know. I'll try to say very concisely because this takes a lot of time. So Sankhya Yoga, which is given by atheistic Kapil. So it is called Sagodat Bhedavad. That means they talk about 24 elements. They even talk about soul. They also talk about super soul. They talk about all these things. So they have made some contribution. What is that contribution? Contribution is evolution of elements. How things evolve from subtle to gross. So certainly, of course. But I recommended in one of the Bhakti Shastri classes to hear that class on creation. How from we have Pradhan. When Mahavishnu glances, Pradhan turns into Mahatattva. And then we have three portions. Mahatattva in mode of goodness, in mode of passion and ignorance. Mode of passion is called Sutra Tattva. And from Mahatattva and mode of ignorance, all other gradual elements come out. Because it turns into basically Ahankar, false ego. And from that, all 24 elements come out. So all these things are very, very vividly and clearly spoken by Kapila, Atheistic Kapila, in his Sankhya Yoga. So this is a contribution. It's a contribution. But then they have a particular essential feature which Vyasdev basically defeats in Vedanta Sutra. What is that? They say that soul and super soul are active. Sorry, they are conscious but not active. They are conscious but not active. And this is very popular philosophy. And all the people are from, most of the people are from Andhra, na? Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. Karnataka, I am not saying because Andhra and Tamil Nadu is famous for watching movies. Yasastri Sandhyam, one movie they'll watch three times. But devotees don't watch. But they are known for movies. So I don't want to bring back your old memories. Still, there was one movie which came, which was name was Anand. So I don't know what it was in Telugu. Telugu was Anand. Past life memories. So they had this movie became very famous because of this philosophy. Unknowingly, people were hearing it and repeating it also. So there was the hero who ultimately gets cancer. Rajesh Khanna was there. Rajesh Khanna Amitabh Bachchan. He gets the cancer, and at the end he speaks this philosophy. He says, "Babu Musai, हम सब तो रंगमंच की कठपुतली हैं." So we are like puppets. We come, play our role, and go away. But what to do? We are helpless. This is the same philosophy. That means you are bound to do whatever happens. So everything is happening through 24 elements, right? But we are just conscious, but we are not active. We can't do anything about it. So what Vedvya says is, certainly we are conscious, but we are active also. If we were not active, then why do scriptures say to do something or not do something? Why they say this is you should do this and not do that? Because if you are just conscious and not active, then there is no free will. It means you can just see things, observe things, either be conscious of them or withdraw your consciousness, but you can't do anything about them. In that case, the rules and regulations of the scriptures become useless. Because you are conscious but not active, you can't do anything. So suddenly, in one sense, truthfully, we are inactive, but we are active in the sense that we can desire and choose. We can choose to desire. So Paramatma fulfills all our desires by moving 24 elements and giving us a sense that we are the doers. But we are also responsible for our choices, for our desires. And that is why Vyasdev corrects. So this is about Sankhya process. In detail, you can go through the document which I sent you. But I'm just speaking very, very concise. Because we have all 6 of them. So I hope Sankhya is clear. Somebody has any question, then they may ask.
But conscious but not active. So we knew it, but we are not.
No, conscious means you can see things, but you can't choose to act in either same way or opposite way. That's what active. Like for example, now you fight with someone, and then you say, I didn't do that. 24 elements made me do that. I'm just observing it. Understood? That means I'm conscious of the fight, but I can not choose or I can't choose not to fight. Then the blame goes in 24 elements. Right? That is meaning of conscious but not active. Yeah, in atheistic, we are conscious but not active, but theistic, we are both conscious and active. And only in the sense that ultimately theistic Sankhya philosophy culminates in devotional service. Here it doesn't culminate in devotional service. Karma is there in the sense that karma, because of karma, things are moving, but you can't create any karma. Karma is not responsible. Means you are not responsible basically. Don't say karma. I am not responsible for myself. As good as that. Yeah. I don't even go to police station and say what to do. 24 elements are working. Of course, they will treat all the 24 elements by a stick. But that is what it means. Okay, so this is Sankhya. Now, second one is very, very famous. That's called Patanjali's Yoga. That's very famous.
They are accepting soul and also super soul.
Yeah, but both of them have, they can observe, but they can't be active. Soul can observe his own body and things around. Super soul can observe everything, but none of them can act. They're just observers. Huh? Yeah, means simple thing. Soul and super soul are watching the movie, but they are not playing video game. Is that clear now? In video game, you are actively participant. So you are watching a movie, but you are not playing a video game. That's good. At least kids will understand now. So next one is Patanjali's yoga. So what he does is So contribution is that he makes eightfold method of meditation. And this is like very useful. Even like many of devotees, I'm supposed to do it daily. I don't do it daily, but many devotees also do yoga. So it gives good health, good concentration. So that contribution is a very good contribution given by Patanjali. But problem is they give secondary aspect to devotion service. So what Patanjali does is he says that Ishwar Paridhanat Va. That means meditation on Paramatma is one type of meditation which you may do or may not. So he doesn't give much importance to that. So they have a mechanical process of meditation. But they don't so much emphasize on surrender to Krishna. So it is useful in the sense that actually speaking, life airs do have a very strong connection with the mind. We all can observe it. Whenever we are very angry, we breathe very heavily, right? Whenever we are calm, life airs are also very mild. Whenever we inhale and exhale during chanting, that is the time mind wanders here and there. So if you can hold the breath, you can also concentrate even on chanting very nice. So if mind is very turbulent, we can just practice that. Hold your breath, chant as many Mahamantras as possible. If you can concentrate on the first Mahamantra of your breath, you can concentrate on rest of it. So it becomes very easy to chant. So in this way, it is useful, pretty useful. But then they don't say that you have to surrender to Krishna. They don't say devotional service is very important. They say, okay, you can do that also. So they give a secondary, you can say, emphasis on devotional service. But then, Ved Vyas, he defeats it. He says it's not that devotional service is one way of meditating. Rather, by devotional service, one can get liberation. Not just devotional service gives liberation, devotional service is liberation. That is what Vedya says. Devotional service is liberation. So what I'll just read from Vedanta Sutra what he writes. Worship of the Lord continues up to the point of liberation and indeed goes on in the liberated state also. Not that it is just one way of meditation. Not that just it is a way to liberation. Devotional service continues after liberation also. So when Prabhupada went through this verse, व्यवसायत्मका बुद्धि एक है गुरुनंदना बहुशाखा अनंत सा बुद्धि व्यवसायी. Commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur inspired him so much that he went to the West and dedicated his life. Because in the commentary, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, serving Krishna as per instructions of one's Guru is not means for perfection. It is perfection in itself. It's not means of perfection. It is perfection in itself. That means if you are able to serve Krishna as per instruction of Guru, we are already successful. It's not means of being successful. We are already successful. So whatever Prabhupada has given us, if we are able to serve Krishna in that way, we are successful. We don't need anything else. That's perfection of life. Even if we take another birth and we continue like that, there is no loss. We are perfected. Why? Because the natural state of any living entity is to serve Krishna as Krishna likes. Guru knows what Krishna likes. So if we are serving Krishna as per instruction of Guru, we are already perfected. So that's why Vidya says, devotion service is not just means of liberation, it is liberation itself. and it continues after liberation also. Now this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we do quote them many times, but despite that, Sarvama Bhattacharya in Chaitanya Charitamrita says it is more dangerous than Mayavadi philosophy. It's more dangerous than Mayavadi philosophy. And the reason is that Mayavadis at least want to become one with God and merge with God. Followers of Patanjali want to become that Vishnu who is residing in everyone's heart. So they meditate on Paramatma within the heart and then they say, we are that Paramatma. We are that Paramatma. So Sarvama Bhattacharya said that they are more dangerous than Mayavadis. Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So we can utilize the positive aspect, but we have to be careful about the negative aspect. So that's see, they want to at least become one with God. They don't say, I want to become Vishnu. I want to become Vishnu means I want to enjoy with Lakshmi. I want to be served by Anandadev. I also want to get all the servants like Jai Vijay and all the people. That's heavily, you can say, offensive mentality. Huh? Like contract, yes. Exactly like that. You want to be one with God, it's different thing. Rest in peace, don't do anything. Mayavadi say, but still their understanding of Narayana is impersonal. So they don't have such a detailed plan to enjoy after becoming God. They just want to rest in peace. They let them in peace only. At least they don't do any nonsense. But these people desire to do nonsense. So this is about Patanjali Yoga. So is that clear? Anyway, it has to be clear because yeah. So Sarvama Bhattacharya, that's why he condemns. He says, no, these fellows want to become Paramatma. Very dangerous. So we consider on Paramatma and then we understand we are servant of Paramatma. But seeing thing, I am only that. That is dangerous. Raghunath Bhatta. He's sending Ram Ram to become Ram. Not for serving Ram. Temporary service for permanent position. Like serve the master to occupy his post. It's very dangerous. Okay, now we'll go to the third one. Third one is Nyaya. Nyaya is basically called logic. Logic. And this is given by Gautam Rishi. This is given by Gautam Rishi. So he propounded his philosophy called Sad Vinasvad. So what these people do is they deprive the liberated soul of consciousness. That means as soon as you become liberated, you lose your consciousness. This is as good as called Sunyavad. So Buddhism and Jainism, which have come so much later on, somewhere they're close to Nyaya. Because they talk about Sunyavad. So they basically want to finish off their existence after they become liberated. Or you can say it is a spiritual suicide. It is as good as Kuchai. So this is given by Nyaya. Now they also have some contribution because they give techniques of logic. Because many times what happens is Kalyoga Vasis are so stupid, they don't know even what is logic. I was once having debate with one of my relatives, but he was very elderly, so I was not much like arguing. So he was telling, what is this body? This is only Indrasan, made of Indriya. Who is this Indra? I am only Indra. And whenever the apsaras of lust dance in the heart, the yogi becomes disturbed. Indra becomes disturbed. So he was speaking some nonsense. So I told him that we can make any sort of analogy. We can say, I am like bat and you are like ball. I am meant to beat you and you are supposed to be beaten by me. This is not a logic. So logic means that there has to be, or we can say analogy. Analogy basically means there has to be some parallels between the things which are compared. That's why Prabhupada would say, when he would say that now this ghatakas, patakas, it's not a good analogy. Ghatakas means there is akas in the ghat, in the pot. You break it and patakas. Everything this akas merged into the bigger akas. So then Prabhupada said it is a very bad analogy because we are not like pots. We are conscious beings. So how can you say that as soon as the body is destroyed, then no, you merge into the, or ahankar is destroyed, you merge into the supreme Brahman. Because you can't compare us to pot. Only one thing you can compare is you can break the body and you can break the pot. That's all, nothing else. It's not a good analogy. But our achar, that's why we need some standard platform for debating. Some nyaya is required. Like Vinodari Prabhu is an advocate. Can you give any logic in the court? Right? There are some standard logics, right? So not anybody speaks anything and the court is convinced. That happens only in the movies, not in reality. So similarly, when people who are following Vedic knowledge are concerned, whenever they have debate, there are some standard techniques of having logic. That is given by Nyaya. And even many of our acharyas use so many techniques of logic. Like we have Ardhakuput Nyaya. That is called half-hand logic. You must have read that story. You have to feed the hand from the front and it gives eggs from behind. So a person thinks, if I cut the hand into half, I will get the egg part and I don't have to feed the front part. Similarly, when it comes to using yoga for health, people refer to Vedas. Whenever corona is get there, you get Ramdev Baba's coronal. It cures you. But whenever it comes about believing in Krishna, they say, no, we don't believe in Vedas. That's called half-hand logic. So another logic which they use is Ajgal Stan Nyaya, Sakha Chandra Nyaya, Nagna Matrika Nyaya. So many Nyaya are used by all our acharyas. These are all techniques. Tandul Vrishtik Nyaya, that from the pile of rice, scorpion comes out. These are all Nyaya given by Gautam Rishi in his commentaries on which, not commentary, basically Nyaya in his philosophy. So this contribution, the big contribution given by Gautam Rishi.
So what he wants to do yoga, to which extent they can follow this? Yes,
you can do yoga, pranayam, don't follow their philosophy. Don't hear them. Even if you go, then you may close your ears with earplugs and then go and do yoga and come back. So don't hear that philosophy, we can just do yoga. Okay. So what do they propose? They propose that one can attain liberation by negating both illusion and unhappiness through logic. So they call it दुख जन्म प्रवृत्ति दोष मिथ्य ज्ञाना नाम उत्तरोत्तर पाए. By successfully dispelling false conception and character, entangling action, rebirth and misery, the disappearance of one of these following the decline of the next. Okay, I'll explain it one by one. So what they say is all troubles are because of false conceptions. And there are certain people who are very famous in the modern era. So one Guruji is very famous nowadays. Yeah. So he says like that only. He has not read, he very clearly says, I have not read any Quran, I have not read Bhagavad Gita, I have not read anything. No Quran, no Quran, nothing. But I have read some comic books. He reads some comics books. So he just speaks logic, and people are convinced that just by understanding logic, what will happen is your false conceptions are gone. So if false conceptions are gone, then one's bad character is gone. One's bad character goes away. Once bad character goes away, then one doesn't perform any entangling actions, which entangle us in the law of karma. And when there is no entangling action, there is no rebirth and there is no misery. Simple. So that is how they say it happens. It's like you go in a Mumbai local train. I don't know how many of you have been to Mumbai. How many of you have been to Mumbai local train? Very few. Many people will not be able to sit. Once you go inside, you are helpless. You just stand in front of the door, you go inside, and you stand in door again in front of the door and you go outside. It's like an automatic machine. And some point of time, people are so packed that ribs to ribs are connected. And I still remember, no, I was there for 1 month. And then some new person comes and he says, Takat lagao. Your ribs get squeezed. That is situated in the local train. So removing it by false conception means I am not going in a local train. What I am going to do? I am just going for free massage. I'll get a free massage and I'll come out. If you go with that conception, then all your miseries will go away. It is something like that. So what he says is you can remove all your misconception just by perceiving things positively. So all the motivational courses, they are something like that nowadays. Oh, there's one some joke about it. Like once one owner of a company was there, and a servant came to him and told him that, my dear sir, your cat has died. And he felt so hurt. Can't you speak in a right way, in a proper way, in a positive way? Just you are coming and speaking, my cat has died. I love the cat so much. So then he said, okay, sir, from how should I speak from the next time? You should first say that, sir, I don't know, cat is walking on the wall. And then after 5 minutes, you come and tell, cat fell from the wall. And I'll say, something happened to the cat? No. It is just lying down, but it is not showing any symptoms of movement. So then I would ask, but is it breathing? I'm not able to understand whether it is breathing or not because the body is not moving. And slowly I can understand that a cat has died. So this fellow said, I understood. I got a good course on postage thinking. And next day he came and I told, my dear sir, your mother is walking on the wall. So it's like things don't work so much. So there's something called logic. So what this is, logically you try to understand that how there is no problem at all. How you don't have to do anything wrong. Like this personality, somebody told them that when I do such a thing, I become very proud. How can you be proud when you don't do anything? I don't know, even if you say, I know that I'm doing something. So by logic, you can change the character of a person. Then further it says, but with the flaw. What is the flaw? But since Nyaya philosophers believe that awareness is not an essential quality of the soul, they don't even believe that soul is conscious. Sankhya said soul is conscious but not active. They even say that soul is not even conscious. So that means, according to them, soul is as good as dead stone. It has no consciousness. So they practically kill the innate nature of the soul. They kill the innate nature of the soul. So how what Vyasadeva speaks about it is, Kyo at eva, the Jiva soul is always a knower. Otherwise, where is the question of applying logic? Right? If you are not conscious, where the question of logic? Who is applying logic? And for what is he applying logic? If he is not conscious, then where is the question of being miserable so that we need to apply logic? So consciousness is something very primary. That is how Vyasadeva he corrects and defeats Nyaya. So any question on Nyaya? For them, there's not like they don't talk only. No talk about it.
So we can apply this logic in.
As I told now, our acharyas have spoken like so many Nyaya. Ajgal Sthal Nyaya, Tandul Visik Nyaya, Nagla Madrika Nyaya, Sakha Chandra Nyaya, so many Nyaya. So we can learn philosophy through them and we can apply philosophy. No, they say soul is not conscious. Especially when you become liberated, you merge into nothing. It is because of misconception that you are feeling this world is there. As soon as the misconceptions are removed, there is no world. So they just keep on using the logic to remove the miseries of the world. See, for them now, world is like, it all depends on your perception. That is what this. I perceive that it is too hot. Someone else may perceive it is too cold. It's all relative perception. I may perceive that potato is good for health. Other fellow may perceive it is bad for health. It is all perception. So they say everything is perception. But certainly, we understand certain things like nobody will say cancer is very good. Let me die with cancer. So that is how people of Nyaya they speak. Fourth one is Vaisesika, given by Kannada. And this is, you can say in one sense, father of Big Bang theory. So modern atheistic scientists, they are not even part and parcel of followers of this philosophy. Yeah. So Kannada is not Canada. It's not. We are staying in. We are staying here in Bangalore. It will be so offensive that I am repeating Kannada only. No, not Kannada. Kannada this. Kannada is Kannada. I don't know whether he's only given Kannada. I'm not sure. Otherwise, dangerous to speak in Bangalore. So Kannada is. So he is in Vaisesika. So his philosophy is called Asad Utpattivad. That means this world has come from a material source. And that is called, in modern terms, Big Bang Theory. World has come from matter, basically. So these people also have a contribution. What is the contribution? They give basic metaphysical categories of reality. That means they talk about basically atoms, theory of atoms. See, atom is not a very good word, really speaking. It is the smallest indivisible particle. Now, atom also gets diffused into protons, neutrons, electrons, and all these things. And even nucleus also, there's a nucleus fission. Now, so we are finding more and more small particles. But what he's talking about is the smallest particle, smallest particle. That's called basically anu. Atom may not be very good word for it. So what they propound is something similar. So they say Janim Asataha. What it means is there was a stock of atoms which is responsible for the entire creation. So there are stock of atoms which is responsible for entire creation. So what they say is Nityam Parimandalam. That which is smallest inside the atom is eternal. It is not wrong. The smallest particle and totality of everything is eternal. And that is the reason we are smallest. We are very, very minute. And that is why we are eternal. And the smallest particle of energy is also eternal. And the totality of everything is also eternal. Within that, things change from here to there. So the biggest of everything is eternal, the smallest of everything is also eternal. So that is their philosophy, which is not wrong in one sense. So what they postulate, they follow the postulate. Non-atomic entities, including the soul, who become embodied, and even super soul, they are also like atoms only. No, even non-atomic entities. The soul and super soul, for them, they have very token role. Like all the atoms are there, there is soul, there is super soul. And they all make the universe. What is so great about it? So they practically undermined the interference of soul and super soul in creation. And that's exactly what we say is also the modern science. They say we are just stock of chemicals. Chemical combined, they become bodies. And if somebody dies, then some chemicals are destroyed. If you have some feeling for someone, some chemical is secreting here and there. Some atoms are moving here and there. So they are basically devotees of atoms. Atom Bhakta. So same thing is true with this philosophy also. Now this is better than, really speaking, Big Bang philosophy. I'll tell you why. In Big Bang philosophy, everything begins with a small particle which has infinite mass and infinite density, which is practically saying imaginary. At least here, Kanada is what he's saying, there is talk of atoms, which makes some sense at least. He's not talking about something, one particle which has infinite density and infinite mass. What is infinite? So that is again an imagination, that is a faith. But here at least he's propounding something which is logical. So it is more logical than the philosophy of Big Bang theory. And now Ved Vyas. So what he says is, so he says, Obya thapi na karmastat abhavaha. According to this sutra, one cannot claim that at the time of creation, atoms first combined together. Because what is the cause? There has to be cause behind everything. Nothing happens automatically. So Vedvyas doesn't believe in chance theory. By chance they came together. So what he says is there is a karmic impulse which is required. Some karma is required for that. For them to come together, form something or not form something. And since atoms cannot accept someone's karma, and atoms can't give someone else karma, that's why for themselves to combine, there's no reason. There's no reason why they should combine, because matter doesn't accept anyone's karma. So you see, that's why this philosophy is not a proper philosophy. If you say some living entity has done that, makes sense. If you say some super soul has done that, makes sense. But if you say that it happens just by automatically, because atoms cannot carry any karma, there can't be any combination like that. So that is how Vedas refutes this philosophy of Kanada's. And he says you can't say that it is because of residual karma of jivas also. Their karma, because atoms cannot accept any karma as well. So I think that's clear. Now, yeah. Okay, we can say like that. See, actually, their logic is too stupid. Really speaking. Prabhupada would say simple thing. I beat you with stone, you feel pain. I beat that dog, he also feels pain. How can you say that dog doesn't have soul and you have soul? You also cry when I beat you with stone. I beat a dog, he also feels stone. So how can you say that good dog is not conscious, you are conscious? It doesn't make any sense. Actually, the concept of soul is also very vague. They don't understand what is meaning of soul. That is the reason they preserve the bodies. You know this day of judgment, they are preserving bodies for the day of judgment. So it doesn't make any sense. Then why the question of soul? So we sometimes, the soul is not the best meaning for Paramatma. Sorry, for Atma. Because there is no better meaning or name to be given for Atma in English. That's why our Acharyas have given the word soul. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he wanted to make a whole dictionary for Sanskrit words, where he'll explain the meaning. But the work was so huge that even the king of Manipur at that time was not able to pay the Lakshmi for the whole work. So currently in our Calcutta, there is a Bhaktivedanta Research Center, BRC. So there are one professor and 3-4 students. They are continuing that work for this time. So we'll come back to the topic.
All these Kannada
Actually, they are followers of Ved Vyas. See, these people in themselves are not theists. It's like a teacher gives the assignment to the students and he corrects the paper. That is what Ved Vyas has done with all these people. But these philosophies are still written there so that people who have that inclination can be very much appealed by them and they can accept this philosophy. Now you go to any science conference and you show the paper of Kannada Rishi, they will be really very inspired. Oh, there's something in Veda that is common to all of us. So they will appreciate. So that's why Veda has good ones. Now, fifth one, and that's like very famous. It is Mimamsa. Mimamsa is given by Gemini Rishi. So their most essential feature is Vipanvad. They condemn the soul to eternal involvement in mundane commerce of karma. What is mundane commerce of karma? It was a very famous song. Don't remember after the class. स्वर्ग भी यहाँ, नर्क भी यहाँ, इसके सिवा जाना कहाँ. You heard that? This Karma Mimamsa philosophy. That everything is here only within this world. So for them, there's nothing like liberation. What maximum you can do is do a lot of pious activities, go to heaven, enjoy nice movies in the form of watching the dances of the Apsaras, drink somras, and have a nice life. So there's nothing like liberation. So this is the philosophy of Mimamsa. Now they have some contribution to make. What is contribution? See, actually, India, that's why even the old movies of India, like there are a lot of philosophical aspects. I don't know. I heard that nowadays they don't have so much of philosophy. They're pretty stupid nowadays. But earlier they had. Because philosophy has been within the culture of India. So some of them are not right ones also. So what these people do is they establish the standard tool of scriptural interpretation. How to interpret a scripture, how to give a commentary. Okay, that document is not there with me. So there are 5 aspects of writing any commentary. Prabhupada follows all of them. So all these things, the scripture standard tools for scriptural interpretation, how to interpret the scriptures, is also given in by Karma Mimamsa philosophy. And that's very useful. Otherwise, sometimes people can screw out any meaning. But before screwing any meaning, one should know what are the standards. Like from Sanskrit, if direct meanings are very clear, you don't have to go to indirect meaning. When direct meaning doesn't make any sense, then we take indirect meaning. For example, there is a word called Gangayam Ghosha. That means Ghosh means a village of cowherdmen, and Gangayam means inside Ganga. Can a village exist inside Ganga? No. So then we say it is not inside Ganga, it is near Ganga. It is near Ganga. Or let us say, so this is one way. Another thing which we see in the interpretation is that there is no sudden abrupt change. For example, the chapter is about a king called Devdatta. And another line comes, Singho Devdatta. There was a lion called Devdatta. So did he suddenly have reincarnation as a lion? No. What it means is there was a king called Devdatta and he has lion-like qualities. So these are called some techniques. These are some techniques of spiritual interpretation. And then we have like Sandhi Vichhed, and then how to combine them, how to interpret, how to write commentaries. So if we see carefully, the words of any sloka can have multiple meanings. But what acharyas do is, in the purport, they say, why did I speak this meaning? This is exactly what Prabhupada also does in his purports. That's why whenever we read Prabhupada books, one very good way of reading is write the translation, write the points of the purport, and connect them. So entire Bhagavatam I read like that. So it becomes Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavatam becomes very, very realisable. Because Prabhupada justifies his translation through the purports. And purports also become very clear. Otherwise, many times devotees have a complaint that Prabhupada is very repetitive. So it's not repetition. Prabhupada is clarifying why he has written this particular interpretation. So there's another way of reading Prabhupada, especially Srimad Bhagavatam. So they have standard tool for spiritual interpretation. Now what Jamli Rishi writes in Purva Mimamsa, it presents material work and its results as the whole of reality. Vipannamritam. So main thing is, okay, there is Swarga, there is Narka, but that is not everything. Problem with them is what they say, there's nothing beyond that. Na anyat astiti vadinaha. What they say is, there's nothing beyond it. This is the problem. Here later proponents of Karma philosophy teach the material existence is endless. There's nothing beyond it. There is no liberation. For them, cycle of birth and death is perpetual. Perpetual means it will never end. We have to be born again. So because we have to be born again and again, what to do? Do nice past activities and lead a nice life. Right? Such a life is very popular, especially in South India. I don't do bad to anyone. I'm a good man. No, why do you take up to Krishna consciousness, right? So people speak like that. So the best one can aim is to have a higher birth with the demigod. Yeah, so the whole purpose of rituals is create good karma, and that is the prime responsibility of the soul. Chant, have good karma, and enjoy nice life. Enjoy nice and happy. So this is given by him. Now what Vedvyas says about it, we'll just read it. So fourth chapter of Vedanta Sutra, which deals about life's ultimate goal, elaborately describe the soul's potential for achieving liberation from birth and death. So Vyasdev says, yes, we can get liberated, not that this is perpetual. Why are you discouraging people by saying, nobody can get liberation? Nobody can get liberation. It's like a heavy false ego. Nobody can liberate. So he says, yes, soul has that potential to get liberation. While it subordinates ritual sacrifice to the role of helping one become qualified to receive spiritual knowledge. So he says, rather what Vedanta says is, rather all Vedic rituals are meant to get spiritual knowledge. Realize that I am not body, I am soul, I am part and parcel of Krishna. That is the purpose of all the rituals. Because by performing the rituals, somehow indirectly you serve Vishnu or Krishna. So that is the purpose of rituals. So here what he writes in 4.1.16 Vedanta Sutra. Agnihotradi tutat karya eva tad darsana. Agnihotra and other Vedic sacrifices are meant only for producing knowledge as the statements of the Vedas show. So they are just meant for producing spiritual knowledge. This is what Arjuna also speaks. Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, you don't have to surrender to me. Just fight in the war. That will remove all grief. Arjuna says, my dear Krishna, what to see of kingdom in this world? I don't want sovereignty over even heavenly planets. What I want is transcendental knowledge, which is the mature fruit of all mysticism. So this is what Vedvya says. And the last, what of Vedanta Sutra 4.4.22 they claim, Anavritti Sabdas. The liberated soul never returns to this world as promised by the revealed scripture. So scripture says that we can get liberated. So there is a nonsense to say no, we have to stay only. Sorry, इसके अलावा जाने का no, not like that. And last one is by Vedvyas himself, that's called Vedanta or end of knowledge. Vedanta, end of knowledge. So that devotion service is explained as Paricharyavad. Paricharya means basically service and devotion service. That is explained there. So those explained by Vaishnava Acharyas, actually all interpretation of Vedanta Sutra are not right. Only the interpretation given by Vaishnava Acharyas are the right ones. Because even Shankaracharya has given commentary on Vedanta Sutra that is called Sariraka Bhasya. So that is not the right one. So how Vaishnavas interpreted? The Vaishnavas who accept this philosophy teach that Jiva soul is atomic particle of that spiritual personality. So soul has minute knowledge, minute independence. It has no material qualities. He is prone to be controlled by material energy. And when he is controlled by material energy, he suffers material pains due to material life. But he can get rid of his suffering by taking shelter of Supreme Lord's divine internal energy. By taking shelter of Radharani, one can get liberation. And that can happen only when we perform devotion service under divine energy. And one should not engage in any fruitive work, mental speculation, or any other process. And one should not think that bhakti is meant only for sentimentalists, because devotees can also have logic and argument. But bhakti is the path of grace. So devotees say that it is by Krishna's grace only we can cross over this ocean of material existence, not by our own endeavor. And then this verse is this: Nayamatma pravachane na labhyo na medaya na bahuna sutena yame vesvranate tena labhyastasses atma vivite tanum sam. This is basically philosophy of Vaishnavas. Nayam atma pravachane na labhyo. One cannot understand soul and super soul by pravachan, giving lectures. Not possible. Na medhaya, not by one's intelligence or scholarship. Na bahuna srutina, not by reading all the srutis or the scriptures. Then who can understand soul and super soul? Yam eves pranatete and labhas tassisapam virditanusha. Whomever Krishna wants to reveal himself, he will reveal. So what we have to do? Do buttering of Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Please your boss will give promotion. So please Krishna devotees, you'll get Krishna's grace. There's no other way, there's no other way. Yes. So by himself, Krishna will reveal that form. And now we'll not go into Shankaracharya philosophy, Dvartavad. Okay, I'll just explain it very concisely. So how Shankaracharya gives interpretation of Vedanta Sutra is, he says, his philosophy called Dvartavad. It denigrate the soul's real life in this world as hallucination. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. This is the philosophy of Shankaracharya. So I will not go much in detail of that. Already devotees know about it. So I'll just end with one pastime. Once what happened is, Shankaracharya went to Varanasi, and he was going through the streets of Kasi. So before this corridor came out, since thousands of years, the lanes of Kasi are very small, very narrow. So there Shankaracharya went and he defeated all the Karmakandi Brahmanas. So they were really angry with Shankaracharya. And after the whole thing, when Shankaracharya was about to go and take bath next day morning in Ganga, so at that time, so he was looking from his house, and he said, "Sankaram kim palayanti." Why is Sankara running away? And Kunjar is mithya. Kunjar mithya, no? This Kunjar is this elephant is mithya. Why are you running away? Shankaracharya said, debate later on. Palayana api mithya. My running away is also false. And he kept running and he saved his life. So that is how this philosophy is not a practical philosophy. So Prabhupada would say, these fellows say that this world is false. They are very expert in enjoying false world. Then that time they don't forget. They forget the philosophy. So this is not the right one. Now we'll not go in detail of defeating. This is another topic. Okay. So quite a philosophical class. So we had all these 6 systems of philosophy. At least you can remember the names. What are they? Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, Vedanta. Okay. Last one. Sankhya is given by Kapil Dev. Yoga is given by Nyaya is given by Mimamsa is given by Gemini Rishi. And this Vaisheshika is given by Kannada Rishi. Kannada Rishi, not Kannada. Kannada Rishi. And the last one, Vedanta Sutra, is given by all devotees are expert in system of philosophy. Now you are qualified for giving Bhagavatam as per Prabhupada. Sri Prabhupada ki. Now these are all disciples of Vedas. See, before Vedas, it is not that knowledge was not there. Veda was like entire knowledge. But what Vedas did is, he divided them into different chapters. He divided them into different books, compiled them. That is quite a tedious task. Like whatever I spoke here, now you have a document. But if let us say you are having conversation with someone, and person who writes minutes of the meeting and then categorizes it, writes it very clearly, summarizes it, it's a very tedious task. Those secretaries in the meeting, they understand. Right, Prabhuji? You must be having experience. So it's like a very tedious task. So Vedas has done it for the entire knowledge. And then he told his disciple that you have so much of knowledge, work on these fields. And then he told the faults and the plus. Bhakti is the best process. Krishna consciousness is the best process. No, there depends on the question actually. Whatever you have read till now, whatever you have read in Bhakti Shastri was applied. So depends on the question. Like Prabhupada was so clever. So depending on the question, you have to speak, answer them, and as per their audience. Because sometimes people can't understand a lot of things. See, this is not meant for new people, system of philosophy. But one thing is, by system of philosophy, at least we can learn how to defeat the atheistic philosophies. Because all atheistic philosophies, somewhere they are within these five systems of philosophy. If we read them very carefully, then we can do. Based on this philosophy. But they are like, no, they are much illogical than this. They are more logical, these people. Huh? Why? Why these many philosophies are come? Because Jivas have so many desires. Jivas active. That's why this philosophy. Like once somebody asked Prabhupada, why Swamiji, why do you wear this mud mark? And generally how we answer? These are Krishna's lotus feet, this Tulsi, and we have put in our. Prabhupada didn't answer. Prabhupada said, why do you have tie on your neck? This fellow thought for the first time. You are looking at tie, you are looking at Prabhupada, you are looking in the sky. Prabhupada said, sit down and think. So for different people, Prabhupada would give different answers, depending on what they understand. Well, Prabhupada would speak to them when he's a Western student. So if he say, Prabhupada said, these are Krishna's lotus feet, he will have doubt in all these three. Who is this Krishna? And what has lotus to do with Krishna and feet? And why feet have to be put here? Why not head? Why not ears? So Prabhupada gave him answer what he can understand. Yes, we'll end here. And we can have 5 more minutes, Krishna. Namo Shubhadaya Krishna Krishna Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Gaura Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Radha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Grazie qui, Gopal qui, Jai Gaur Premanande.